In this Clash of Clans video, we are going to be teaching you the best attack strategy at Town Hall 10. We are initially going to break this down into a few simple steps that you can follow in order to get the 3 stars. We will talk about the attack broadly so that the different stages we discuss initially can be transferable into a number of base designs. For the final few attacks of this video, we will dive a little bit deeper. We will explain exactly why the attacker is doing what they are doing against that set base design so that you have a few more advanced tips as well. But without further ado, let's get into it. Alrighty guys, let's dive straight into this. The attack strategy we are talking about is the Queen Charge into LavaLoon. Now I know what some of you guys are thinking. This is an incredibly difficult attack to pull off. Well, you are correct, it is, but that's what this video aims to bridge the gap with, teach you guys how to do it. If you do want an easier attack to get the 3 stars at Town Hall 10, I would recommend the Frozen Witch, and I will link my video teaching you that at the end of this one. But if you want the absolute strongest, this attack is it. So you want to start out with a Queen Charge. There's a few different ways of doing LavaLoon, but the Queen Charge is the strongest in my opinion. What we started here is a little bit of a Queen Walk, so we've got the Queen walking around the edge of the base. She's able to take out a couple of buildings along the way before transferring into a Queen Charge. So a charge is sending your Queen into the base itself. Now you have to cut off the funnel at either side, so notice the King just powering up this side of the base in order to ensure that our Queen comes into the base, because she could easily walk around the other side if not. You want to try and use wall breakers initially for the first 1 to 2 layers. So you can see 1 layer here, 1 layer here. You can go further, but it increases the difficulty the further you get in, because the wall breakers target buildings, and the more buildings you have, the harder it is to time the wall breakers. So break the first couple of layers, and then you can use a jump to get your Queen even further into the base. Guys, if you are new to my channel, be sure to subscribe and turn on that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of my Clash of Clans videos. I'm going to pause the attack briefly here as the LavaLoon portion has started to come in from the left hand side. Just take a quick note of the objectives we have taken down from the Queen Charge. Now one of the main things is pathing for your LavaLoon. So we've taken out this entire section of defenses, meaning that the LavaLoon has a clear path around the top. Notice how we have one air defense and another over this side, meaning that we have the Lava Hounds pathing to this air defense, then across to this one. We've got good coverage for our balloons. In terms of objectives that you want to take down, the enemy Queen is the biggest defense that you have to try and take with the LavaLoon. If the base design really doesn't suit, you can take her out on the fly with skeleton spells. The clan castle as well, another major defense that you want to try and take down, especially if it is a fresh hit. Now normally, if there's 2 multi-infernos, you also want to try and take down a multi-inferno. However, if you cannot, it doesn't suit the base, try and use a slammer to take down one of the multis. So you can see the first slammer comes in, or the only slammer comes in to the multi, and then we surround the second multi-inferno with the balloons. I'm pretty sure that that freeze spell was meant to hit the multi-inferno. It doesn't matter though, because we're able to get onto that multi easily, and we've got a good spread on the balloons initially, so they're not taking as much damage. You can see what we discussed earlier, the Lava Hound moving across to that other air defense. As soon as that air defense has the Lava Hound there, we can power in a couple of balloons from this side to take down them defenses, because the balloons are tanked for. It's all about trying to get momentum through the raid, so trying to ensure that your balloons get to the defenses and take them down very quickly, but making sure they have coverage from the Lava Hound. Let's move across to the next attack. Moving on to the second attack, this one by Shivam. All of these attacks are by toxic rabbits. If you are interested in joining us, max Town Hall 10s and above, be sure to join my Discord server. All of my social media platforms are linked below. You'll find everything you need there. Again, starting off with the Queen Walk into Queen Charge. You have to create the funnel for your Queen Walk. So a baby dragon and a balloon take out this top section, meaning that the Queen can walk down over, and actually there's more than enough buildings to just draw her down that way anyway. You've got to then send the Queen into the base, so we have to use the King around the bottom section here. Now this is kind of an adaptation of the Town Hall 12 trophy pushing base, which aims to block the P.E.K.K.A. smash, where you'd send the P.E.K.K.A.s through this way, but unfortunately the multi-infernos are placed alongside the wizard towers and traps to just eradicate that strategy. But similar to at Town Hall 12, it's very effective to Queen Charge from this area. The pathing that we've got here due to the 4 earthquake spells is incredible. So do think about what we said before. The wall breakers into jump spell. Against majority of bases, that will be the way to go. However, do not overlook 4 earthquake spells, because we've actually created all of the pathing we would need with the earthquake. So we don't have to mess around here. We've actually got the Queen into the base. She's taken down again. Thinking about if you are trying to transfer this to different base designs, we've taken down the Queen, we've taken down the clan castle, and we've taken down one of the multi-infernos. The 3 biggest factors that you have to look for in terms of LavaLoon. And on top of that, we've created pathing. Notice how we start the Lalo here, and we can then move in and around the base. Queen is going to step down to the other multi-inferno, so we actually get both of them, which is incredible. And again, look at the air defense and how you can path to it. So we have 3 air defense on this one. Initially, we're going to be able to power the hounds to this, then to this one, then to this one. And notice the defenses as well. All of the defenses within that area are within range of the air defense, meaning we have good coverage for our balloons. The only defense which is a little bit tricky is this one, but actually the Queen could get that, but as long as we surround the balloons enough, they should split and have a couple of them come across to here. Either way, one of them will get it done. So this slammer is able to take out majority of the top. We just have to reinforce with a couple of loons. Once we have coverage from the hound here, we're getting loons in. And again, we can slowly just pick our way through the base, reinforcing loons. In the next attack, we'll try and focus a little bit more on the deployment of the loons. For the first 2 there, I've kind of focused on what you want to look for in terms of pathing for your LavaLoon, in terms of objectives from your Queen Charge. If you can get that bit right, you are onto a winner. The LavaLoon is the bit that just finishes it off. I'm not saying it's easy, because it's not. It's incredibly difficult to do, but it's definitely easier once you've set it up correctly. Once you can get them things that you need to from the Queen Charge, your LavaLoon will just fall into place. So let's go ahead and explain how to deploy the LavaLoon. After this attack, guys, we will dive a little bit deeper into the strategy versus the specific base, but like I said, I want to focus on the LavaLoon deployment for this one. Again, thinking about setting up the funnel either side for your Queen to come into the base. So we're doing that here with a baby dragon and the King down to the west, and a baby dragon up to the north. We're also using the Queen to set up the pathing herself. Think about where you position the Queen. She's a ranged troop, she can shoot the different buildings, and then she can actually move down over depending on where she's situated. So the baby dragon used to clear this side can be used in conjunction with the Queen in order to manage time effectively, so do consider that. We have mentioned the wall breakers, the jump spells, the earthquake spells for getting into the base. The other method is the wall wrecker. This would be lowest on the pecking order for me, because you're actually committing a lot to the Queen Charge. You really don't have as much for the LavaLoon as what you might if you use a traditional kill squad, but you have the slammer to help out as long as you don't have to use that wrecker. So do try and use the wall breakers and jump spells. Most of the time that will work. Earthquakes can sometimes be better. Again, CC, Queen, multi. 3 things we are getting down, not to mention we've taken out this top area, we've got pathing for the LavaLoon. Right, now let's discuss that LavaLoon for you. Most of the time, you want to lead with the slammer, unless you can get clear pathing to the multi-inferno. So arguably could have sent the slammer down this area as the Lalo was coming through, but your slammer is essentially a lava hound. It's very tanky, so use it as a hound very much like you would. Actually allows him here to start taking out defenses and mean that he can get a decent spread on the loons. You want to just send in loons to the defenses nice and quickly, use haste spells on the perimeter, and then when you get to the center, which would be this area here, that's where you want to use rage spells, maybe heal spells, depending on what's in that area, but you need to power through it very quickly. Haste spells on the perimeter, rage or heal when your balloons clump together in the center. Notice splash damages towards the back end of the base. You want to try and send in some back end balloons or have some spells for that. Actually opts to use the rage spell for the back end. Could have done it the other way, I probably would have. The balloons here were slightly too quick, but the planning for it was there, got everything done, and if you can, ensure you get your Lalo in quick enough to protect the queen as well. So again, once your queen has set up the pathing, it's really just a case of slowly putting the loons in towards the defenses. You want a good bulk of them first. You have to get that momentum that we talked about. Haste spells, but think about where the coverage is. Remember, once your Lava Hound moves to the next air defense, you can reinforce with a few other balloons. Okay, we have 2 more attacks to break down, and I want to show you these in a little bit more depth before linking you across to my guide for the Frozen Witch, probably the easiest attack strategy at Town Hall 10. I used to think it was the best, but it's actually probably better branded as the easiest. So for this base design, I want to first just let you see the position of the air defense. Look, take note of that. We've got 1, 2, 3, and 4, and notice the defenses around it. Any of the point defense are basically within range of the air defense. So whenever we send the LavaLoons in, they are going to go to the air defense and they are going to tank all of them point defense, which means the balloons are relatively safe. We've only just got this kind of funny area in the middle with the 2 multis, the clan castle, and the queen. Now you will note that they are the main things I've been telling you that we need to take down. So we've got to get the queen into this area first, easier than what you think. We use the king in order to create the funnel initially. That just means that when we deploy the queen, she's coming down this way. She's going to come clockwise around the base. We actually start by taking out this gold storage and the baby dragon will move on. That will send the queen to the mortar on the inside, not necessarily walking on the outside of this wall. Now again, remember that the queen is a ranged troop, so after she takes down the mortar, the next closest building that she can reach is the air defense. So again, when she stands here to shoot at the mortar, you've then got to know that that's where she's going to be. She's not going to stand on top of the mortar, she's going to be a little bit back, so therefore she can get this building. The Dark Elixir drill, if we had have got that down, would have been beautiful, but from here, she's not going to come all the way across here. She's actually going to go to the wizard tower, and then she's even closer to the multi from there. So she is going to go into the base. Would have been beautiful if we'd taken this out. However, not needed. We've created the funnel enough with the baby dragon, and just watch that baby dragon at the bottom of your screen slowly going around. No black bombs there because, well, there wouldn't be. Who would have a black bomb out in the open next to traps and no defenses? It doesn't make sense. So the baby dragon can do what it does best, and we can send 1 balloon into this area in order to test for black bombs. Now there's far more likely to be a black bomb next to a multi-inferno or an air defense, and this balloon here is known as a coconut loon. Many of you guys will know that. It's basically sending 1 balloon in, which is only 5 troop capacity, in order to, if it sets off a black bomb, that means you don't lose a healer, which is 14 troop capacity, not to mention that could have a massive impact on your raid. Doesn't find one here, but we've checked the area, so there shouldn't really be one there, and if there is, it's maybe just unfortunate that we hit it. But at this point, guys, we've taken out the CC, we've taken out a multi, we've taken out one, and then in a second, two of the air defense alongside the queen. Let's have a look at it as we've basically taken out this entire right hand side of the base. So we've taken out them 3 key objectives I talked about. We've then got pathing through with the Lalo. The only defenses which could skew our balloons are these 2 here. As we come in towards this air defense, they move to the multi, they move through and to the back end. There's a couple of loons that, if they're lagging behind, could come across to this side. So that's where you just need to reinforce onto these defenses to make sure you get that down and you converge everything into this side. Think about sending the lava hounds from different angles to the air defense to cover your loons. I do think these balloons were maybe just a tad too quick, but gets the job done. Has that haste spell initially, powers forward again, the slammer leading into the multi. Once everything converges together onto this back end, that's when you can then use the more expensive spells, the rage or the haste, or not the haste, sorry, the rage or the heal, which you can see here, leading into that final area. These balloons actually continue to take out these buildings, not merge in, but that's a good thing because it means that we can come straight through towards these dangerous defenses, and that is how we broke down this base, or not me, Shivam broke down this base for toxic rabbits. Very nicely done. Still has the queen alive since we got that Lalo in quick enough. Just let the slammer do its job, mainly because, like I said, if you get to a back-end wizard tower or a back-end multi, any kind of splash defense, you've then got the balloons inside, so you can pop them out afterwards. You've got that little bit of a safety net. Let's move to the next attack. Okay guys, let's pull it all together for this one. Hopefully that's helped you with the LavaLoon deployment and pathing. If you need more tips though, I'd check out my Town Hall 10 attacks playlist. I want to initially focus in on the queen charge here, because like I said, if you don't get the queen charge right, your Lalo is just not going to work. Uses a very simple funnel here and actually uses the queen to funnel for herself. So check it out. As he starts, deploys the queen tightly into these buildings. That means that she can basically step forward and take down all of these buildings with basically only moving a couple of tiles, because she's a ranged troop. She doesn't actually have to go anywhere. That takes time for her to take that down, so it gives you the opportunity to get the queen in, start funneling for herself, start taking down buildings, and create the funnel on either side. Now as she moves forward here, once she has taken down this Dark Elixir storage, she doesn't really have to go anywhere to get to this barracks. Where does she go from there? Well, from where she was standing, she doesn't have to walk around to here, to the cannon. She can literally step 2 tiles forward in order to reach the elixir collector and the gold storage. So again, she's going to go to the closest building she can reach. Not the closest building, but the closest one that she can reach. So she's going to step forward to take out these 2 buildings, meaning you then have time to take down this cannon. Does that with a minion and a balloon, which was used to take out the Tesla. And notice how once that cannon goes down, the queen is going to go where he wants her to. Once the gold storage goes down, she's now not going to walk around to this Dark Elixir drill. She would have if the cannon was still there, but from here, it's a much closer target to just go up to the wizard tower. So that's where she's going to go. Uses the queen to funnel herself alongside just a couple of troops. So know when you need to overcommit on the funnel and when you can just let the queen do her job. I love the use of this wizard. I don't think that was planned, but saw that a lot of troops came out, they were clumped together, could use the wizard in order to take that down and increase the DPS. Uses one test wall breaker, gets the small bomb, uses another one to ensure the pathing is correct here onto that wall and his deployment is correct before sending in all 4 and freezes the multi-inferno. You've got to do that if it's towards the outside, otherwise it will take out the wall breakers. That then sends the queen up and around and into the base. We've already taken out the clan castle, we can reach the queen, we can reach the multi, and we can create the pathing for our Lalo. Everything that we've said we need. I do like the use of this one wizard just to help there. There was always a chance that the queen could step and then step over to the elixir storage if that wasn't down. Even though it just moves the queen 1 or 2 tiles, it could mess things up. So just using that wizard to ensure that that goes down was definitely a good call. Now again, we've actually taken out this entire area. The queen started with that little queen walk into the queen charge. We've taken out the queen, the clan castle, the multi. We've also created the pathing here, taking out this entire top section. One thing I haven't mentioned is the sweepers. We've got one sweeper pointed to the top and one sweeper pointed to the south. Generally speaking, you want to come behind the sweepers. This one, although it's still active, is useless. It's eradicated because we've taken out all of the defenses there, so you can pretty much forget that one. Arguably, he could have came around this way. However, the queen still has the healers. We've still got a rage and a jump in the bag, so we could use the rage there, but more than likely you're obviously going to want to use the rage here. But you could. He's got the option. It's transferable. However, the queen is essentially fine at taking out this area, so why bring the Lalo in here and basically lose the momentum of your queen? She's then not going to take down any defenses. So he starts the Lalo here, still has good pathing in terms of air defense, just has to go through that sweeper, but the queen's going to reach it easy enough anyway. Targeted the slammer to the multi, uses the rage in order to power through that area when the balloons had clumped together. Again, got a good spread initially to take out the defenses and merge everything in the middle, and that for me was a fantastic queen charge LavaLoon to finish up on. The queen charge was brilliantly placed, got everything down, made the Lalo easy. But if you want an even easier attack strategy, the Frozen Witch will be linked here. I would definitely go ahead and recommend checking that out, because some bases, why overcomplicate it if you can use that? Until next time, peace out.